Okay, hello there. Welcome back to Blue Heinz Garage. Today is Monday, March 10th. Uh, just wanted to show you where we're at here. Chassis gone completely. All of it is gone. Little parts, big parts, frame, everything. Right now, Scott is welding the exhaust. I don't mean right this minute, but that's what's in process. And we brought the frame and all the chassis parts up to San Francisco last Wednesday to the powder coating shop, Champion Powder Coating in San Francisco. And they called a friend of mine that helped me with this. It's his recommendation, his referral to go to Champion Powder Coating. Name of the guy's, my friend's name is Richie. He's a mutual friend. The powder coating shop called Richie Friday, said everything was done. If we wanted to pick it up, well, I wasn't available Friday. I had to attend a funeral Friday. So we're going there, and Richie and I both had appointments today. So we're going there tomorrow, which is Tuesday, the 11th, to pick this stuff up and bring it back here. So you see here, I purchased a moving blanket from Harbor Freight that we can use kind of as you might call it a carpet, for assembling the chassis once everything gets back here. And you see I got the stands. I don't know if they're in the right place, but I got the stands sitting on there, and it's all ready. When the chassis comes back, I'm going to put it on those stands, adjust them obviously accordingly, put the chassis on those stands and start assembling everything right here. And I'll show you that tomorrow when it all gets back here. So stay tuned. Okay. Well, now, welcome back to Blue Heinz Garage. As you can see, this morning, today's Tuesday, the 11th of March. This morning, I was back to San Francisco to pick up the powder-coated parts. And I am thoroughly impressed, I have to say. Pleased and thoroughly impressed. I don't know if you can see from the video here, the quality of this finish. I mean, you don't often see paint that is this smooth. I mean, this has no dust or anything. I mean, it's smooth. And they must have put a ton on there, because you can see the weld beads are about filled. Like I said, and there's a lot of parts. There is a lot of parts. 4 bars, fender braces, all kinds of stuff. Jesus, everything. Axle, spring over here. Those 2 boxes are brake drums, rear brake drums, drive shaft, tie rod down there at the end. You know, like I said, the whole chassis here. And there's a lot of, this chassis it's heavy. For a Model A, it's quite heavy. I put a tubular cross member in it. You can see that, or I should say not I. This is hardware for the e-brake mechanism. There's the differential. It's still wrapped. It's not unwrapped yet. It's 8-inch Fords from a 76 Maverick. There's a fan shroud. Again, more parts, 4-bar ends. That elbow you see there is for the fuel fillers. There's 2 of those. More stuff in here. This is running board brackets and other odds and ends. I don't know how many parts. There had to be 100 parts, if not more, because that's not even all of it. Look at over here. I gathered up all the front suspension stuff. Spindles, bat wings, shock mounts, caliper brackets. These are rear drum backing plates. See all the spring, the shackles and the mainspring U-bolts, steering arms, spring perches. Again, look at the finish here. Really, and you know what? Today is, like I say, it's Tuesday. We dropped this stuff off last Wednesday. If I was available, and I wasn't because I had a funeral I had to attend, I could have picked it up Friday. I dropped it off Wednesday. It was ready Friday. So, and yesterday I had a friend of mine went with me today. Me and my friend both had doctor's appointments yesterday. So I could have went there Friday. I could have went there yesterday. We went today, picked it all up. And like I said, we just started unwrapping it this afternoon. So really, really pleased with this. All right. Talk to you later. Thanks. Bye. And hello there. Welcome back to Blue Heinz Garage. Today's 26th of March. Let's see, Wednesday. We've been busy here. Unfortunately, I haven't had the camera out much. But main thing we've been up to is getting all this chassis stuff finished. This was done the following week. Just got these back last night because the tires had to get put back on them. So, and I'm really happy with these too. So now, one of these will go to my paint distributor, the guy that sells all of supplies to the body shops. And I'm going to have him have some paint, make some paint for me that's this color to use on the motor, which currently lives right here. You've seen that thing running on the stand a number of times. Anyway, like I said, this stuff all came out great. I've got it. We've been, you know how when you do powder coating, if you're not familiar, when you do powder coating, all the areas like bolts, for example, they do put plugs in all these threaded holes, but nonetheless some of the stuff gets in there, and if the holes are too little, they don't have plugs there. Like 1032s, they don't have plugs for those. And there's a number of those on this frame. I think there was like 30 of them or something like that. All the brake lines, fuel lines, all that stuff are all strapped to the frame with these little straps. Each one has a single screw. So there's lots of them on the... Anyway, what you have to do with those is clean all the stuff. Like where the kingpin goes through the axle, you got to make sure there's none of the material in there. Where the spring perch goes through the axle, same thing. Every place where there's a machine surface, they tape the stuff up, but some of it they can't tape, so the material gets in there or on there. Here's an example right here. Where it is here. That shaft you see sticking out there with the thread on the end of it, that's for the brake pedal. That I could have had them, and I forgot to tell them. I could have had them tape. And I forgot to tell them. They didn't know what that was for. So they taped the threads because that was obvious. The majority of that shaft, and that's the main reason I didn't say anything, the majority of that shaft needs to be bare. Because that's where the brake pedal pivots, and there's a bushing inside the brake pedal. So it fits tight. There's no room for that material that's on there. What I need to do, though, is figure out where I need to stop taking the material off. Otherwise, it's going to be raw metal exposed. So I have to do that by hand. It's going to be a little time consuming, but nonetheless, that's the way it works. This stuff here is stuff I couldn't send to the powder coating shop because there's rubber inside of it. Too many areas that can't be coated, so it's too delicate. You know what I mean? They're not going to mask this up really fine like you do for paint. So I paint like the rotors. You see the different where it's colored and where it's unpainted. Took a lot of time masking that so it's nice and neat the way you see it. So this stuff all got painted. I'm just getting finished with that now. Try and keep this from getting too long. I'm just getting finished with it. Like I see the last couple of things I got to do here is the U-joints all taken apart so I can paint the steel set, the center sections. And the shocks still get, these shocks I got when I started putting this together about 30 years ago. They don't look that new now because they're 30 years old. These are Pete and Jake's. And then over here is where I've been painting the rest of the stuff, just as a point of interest, you might say. I'll show you what this area, how it gets used. This is my little mini warehouse that I created here. We remodeled the area above it, and I dug this out so I could stand in here. It's 7 feet tall. So this is where I've been spraying all those things. I hang them on the pipe one at a time. There's one little piece up there that I just started spraying yesterday. It's a vent for the rear end. And then after I spray them one at a time, I bring them over here and I hang them on this pipe. This was all of my materials and stuff for rentals. Right, this shelf is almost all electrical. This shelf is nails and odds and ends kind of painting. The other side of it is tools. That's electrical there on the wall and the bins. That was my trade. I was an electrician, so there's more electrical here than anything else. These I just took down for painting the house. They're painting the house right now. Anyway, that's what we've been up to. Been busy. I've been buying parts that I've determined I need. I've bought a lot of bolts because we're using all gold iridite or yellow zinc, whatever you prefer to call it, hardware, everything. It's all yellow zinc, gold iridite. Like I say, your preference. So I bought all the hardware that this is going to use, and I kind of made a list as I took it apart. All the cadmium or bare or whatever finish was on the bolts that I was taking apart. I made a list what I needed to replace with the gold iridite. And I ordered that stuff. I ordered it from Bolt Depot or Granger so far. And I took the brake lines off. You'll see those when they come back. They're not here right now. I took the brake lines off. They were just bare steel. I don't know, they might be some kind of coating on those, but I put those all on there almost 30 years ago, and they were kind of corroded and dirty and whatever. So I took them to a local plater that does cadmium plating, and I'm having those gold iridited too. Gold, what do they call it? Gold cadmium. Yellow cadmium. That's what they call it. Their term for it is yellow cad. So that's what we've been up to. Sorry it's taken so long to put something up there, but hopefully there'll be more to show shortly. Bye. Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to Blue Heinz Garage. You can kind of see what's been going on here today. Sorry I didn't get the camera out earlier. We're doing some final painting. Those just have primer on them so far. I'm using some chassis black on these. Eastwood Extreme Chassis Black on these. This is just getting a little touch up here. That edge where the gasket goes had no paint on it, and it looked like some of it was going to show after the gasket was installed, so here we are. And this is starting to get put together. You see some of the gold hardware that I finally was able to pick up. Here and there. Fuel filter. Not the filter itself, but the, you know, the housing for it. Steering box is on. Some of the form, you see the front suspension is pretty much assembled and installed. I mean, it's up to the spindles and the brakes. There's a differential all painted, the third member all painted up. And the that's the bracket for the panhard bar in the back. Front shocks are painted and hanging there. None of this is tight yet on the front end. It's just assembled. It's kind of finger tight so far. We have to determine the caster angle on the axle. Right now it's just kind of sitting where it sits static when you bolt the spring to the front cross member. I don't know if you can tell here. The cross member is installed from the factory at an angle. You notice how it's not parallel. The top of the cross member is not parallel to the top of the frame. It's got an angle. It's attached with an angle leaning down towards the back, kind of like the motor. Only I think these are, the caster angle I believe on these is recommended at 5 to 6 degrees, 4 to 6 degrees, something like that. And the motor typically is usually set around 3 going down in the back. Pinion angle is 3 to 4, it's supposed to kind of match the motor. But anyway, like I said, you can see here some of this gold hardware starting to, the master cylinder is hanging there. There's the brake pedal pivot, transmission mount. This is where that cross shaft goes for the e-brake. It's all set up for the rear 4 bars. Bolts are hanging out there. We made these cribs long time ago. I don't know, I think before we started working on the 57 Chevy, I had gotten a bunch of material off a construction site and we took the nails out of it and made these cribs. Anyway, so here we are. Time to go have dinner. Later. Okay, well, it's long overdue. Here, let me get this from this angle over here. Hold on. There. A lot better. Started in the spline?
Yeah. Yes.
Good old Ford. You got to drive the axle on there.
Everything's sticky. I don't know where
That's how I get hit. Something moved.
goes.
Yeah, so here's the way this is turning out. See, the blue is the gasket that goes between the two pieces. And there's a finished end. Again, all gold. All the hardware is gold.
Not because it needs to be grade 8, just because we like the contrast.
Right. Yeah, the only way you can get the yellow, what do they call it? Yellow zinc is when you go to grade 8. Not available. Not available except for in grade 8.
Lesser grades.
So we're using Nylox nuts. Oh, that's right. He didn't put any Loctite, huh?
I don't think you need Loctite.
But the Nylox ought to hold it.
Not a whole lot of.
And we're torquing them. Don't have a torque rating. We're just going 20 foot-pounds, which
Yeah.
seems pretty tight,
What did
fairly
we do
tight.
on those? 25?
Thought you went 20.
These? No, these were.
Oh, on the third member, yeah, 25 on those.
They were a little more.
I thought you meant the other axle. Now this time when you start tightening them, go diagonally after this one.
Yeah, I just don't want to. I'm going to flip the housing over. I need you to hold it.
All right, hold on. Okay, so here's where we ended up today with the assembly on this chassis. Front all looks about the same. The kingpins are stuck in the axle. That's about only change on the front. Most of what we did today was the back. We got the rear end assembled, put the pumpkin in it, the third member in it, you see the blue gasket there. Actually put a coat of wax on it. You notice how much shinier it is now. Backing plates are on, axles are installed, 4 bars are installed. They aren't adjusted, they're just on there kind of in a static position. I don't know what the pinion angle is right now. I'm pretty sure it's close though. Right now we just have the rods, the 4 bars all adjusted at the same length. I don't know, like I said, what the pinion angle is. Coilovers are installed. You notice there's more gold hardware, yellow hardware, I guess I should call it. Anyway, there's where it's at right now. Bit of a chore putting these 4 bars in. All the holes for the bolts going through the brackets down. Where am I pointing? The brackets down here. The brackets here. Holes all needed to be. The powder coat needed to be filed out of all the holes. The bolts wouldn't go through them. Like I said, a bit of a chore. Because we didn't think of doing that until the backing plates were already on. Had to clean some of the holes there too in order to install that. There's a gasket where the backing plate goes against the differential housing on each side. Seals had to be installed, and they were. Axle seals, in other words. So anyway, that's where we're at today. More to come. See you later. Thanks for watching. Bye. Okay, well, as you can see from that, this isn't going well. I need to clean the inside of the axle a little more. So when they powder coat this stuff, they try to plug up all the holes, but evidently some material got in there. I got to get some sandpaper on the inside of that thing and make sure it's clean, because the pin is really hard to go in there. I probably could drive it in, but I don't want to do that. So more to follow. Okay, let's try this again. After a tiny bit of filing, mainly where the wedge goes in, I figured maybe some powder got in around that opening where the wedge was. I don't know. Or when they bored it out, it had a little slag, you know what I mean, this around the hole. So I did that area, I did the whole inside a little bit, and then you see I put a piece of sandpaper, taped a piece of sandpaper on a dowel and cleaned it with that. They go in there pretty nice now. So let's give this a try. Okay, I gotta go look at something. I gotta do a 5-minute research. I'm not sure which direction the wedge goes into the axle. Does it go in from the front with the steering stop on the back side of the axle, or the other way around with the steering stop on the front side of the axle? I have to go find that out. Okay, so I found out the wedge goes into the axle from the front. The steering stop screws onto the wedge when it pokes through the axle. The steering stop screws onto the wedge on the back side of the axle. So here goes. Okay, well that gets the spindles and the caliper brackets bolted on. Finally, done, bolted on. Now I can keep going on the brakes on the front and the back. Actually, I pretty much have all the hardware. All the brake lines you see, the brake lines there coming off the master cylinder. I got all that stuff back from the plater the other day, and I haven't uncovered it all yet. I'm going to do that right after I turn this off. I've got a lot of the lines uncovered. One of them has to go back because the plating is not consistent. It's yellow on the ends, and kind of in the middle it's almost still bare steel. And one of them, the fitting that was on the line, I forget if it was a fuel line or a brake line. I don't remember right now. The fitting that was on the end of the line got wedged up near a corner, near a elbow, and it was stuck on there. When you put the fitting where it needs to go on the end, there's a big bare spot where it was stuck. So that one needs to go back too. And I got to look at all the rest of the stuff. The rest of it that I've uncovered is okay. I still have to uncover a whole bunch of small pieces. Anyway, that's where we're at right now. Later. Hello there. Welcome back to Blue Heinz Garage. Today is Easter Sunday, the 20th of April. And in spite of the fact that I haven't done any videos, we've been busy here. With that, assembling that. See, we've got quite a bit of it assembled now. It's not all actually tightened down and torqued and all that good stuff, but most of it, well, a lot of it is assembled. You see, we're in the middle of doing the brake lines, putting the brake lines back on it. You see, I had all of them, what do they call that? Yellow, oh man, what's the name of the plating? Yellow, not zinc, cadmium. Yellow cadmium plated. So I've got started on it. They're not done yet. So there's the master cylinder. See, I had the cover and a little bail plated as well. I sent, I think, 130 pieces down there. Screws, bolts, nuts, that shaft right there, that cross shaft, and the linkages that go on it, all went down there. And some of it came back because, well, some of it went back to them because the colors weren't even, and the fittings on the ends were in the wrong place when they got plated, stuff like that. But you could see here with the frame all taped up, I discovered about a week ago, looking through some reference material, I discovered that I had plumbed the front brakes incorrectly. You see, coming off of the master cylinder, it's a two-circuit, front and rear master cylinder. Coming off the master cylinder going to the front, you see there's the brake light switch, and then there's that long brass hexagon-shaped piece is a residual check valve that keeps the fluid. You see here the caliper is higher than the master. So when you let your foot off the brake, you don't want all the fluid from the caliper draining back to the master cylinder, because the master cylinder, you're going to have to pump the brakes if that's the case, because it takes more than one pump to fill those pistons on the calipers. So you put I think that's a 2-pound, what did I say, residual check valve. So when you let your foot off the brake, it keeps the fluid, it lets the piston retract from the brakes, from the disc brakes, but it doesn't allow all the fluid to drain back into the master. Okay, the next valve you see, that next piece right there, is a metering valve, and it, in essence, is the same as the front half of a proportioning valve. What it does is it meters the fluid going to the disc brakes. When you have disc drums, it meters the fluid going to the disc brakes, so when you jump on the brakes, it doesn't bind the front brakes real bad and lift all the weight off the back brakes and lock up the back ones. It kind of balances the braking effort between the discs on the front and the shoes, the drum shoes on the back. Anyway, I had plumbed that wrong. You see on that valve, how there's two ports that are in line with each other, and one port that doesn't have a mate on the other side of the valve. The one port that is separate from the other, only on one side, is the supply side. That's the side that comes from the master. Well, I didn't have it piped that way. I had that valve turned around so there was two lines going to the front wheels, one from the upper port and one from the port below it. Well, that was wrong. That would not work correctly. So we had to redo things. You see how that one line runs along the bottom of the frame there and then comes back up into the lower port. That's the driver's front wheel. The other one on the front side here goes all the way around the front cross member into the brake on the passenger side. So that, Scott came over yesterday, and the lines you see that are silver, he made yesterday. The front line was existing. That came back. I had that down at the platers. When I discovered the mistake, I went and picked that up so I could put things together, use it to put things back together. And Scott made the two silver colored lines you see right here yesterday. Used the same screw holes for the straps so we don't have excess holes in the frame that go nowhere, that are not necessary. So anyway, that's kind of the progress we've been making. See, there's one of the plated lines after it came back from the plater. The little canister for the fuel filter went to the plater. So, like I say, we're in the process of putting this back together. Got the rear end dialed in, or put together and installed. Front axle is put together and installed. It's not degreed yet as far as the caster. I just got the front brakes assembled, put the discs back together, painted what I needed to paint, scraped off, filed off actually, powder coating where it needed clearance, because the caliper itself and the shoe that is on the inside of the caliper where the piston wouldn't fit, because there was too much material. The clearance was too tight. The powder coating wouldn't allow the little the pad to go in there, or the caliper to go on the bracket. So anyway, those are assembled. I had a problem with the wheel on the seal on the driver's wheel. I put the caliper on and I took it off for a reason, and I found the little spring inside the seal had come loose. I don't know why, but it came out of the seal. So anyway, I have another one ordered. I got to go pick it up tomorrow and put the seal. I probably could put the spring back in, but I'm not going to go there. I'm going to replace the seal. So anyway, that's where we're at right now. The Panhard bar is laying there because I think we were waiting for bolts. Yellow colored, the yellow CAD bolts. Anyway, that's where we're at. Anyway, like I say, happy Easter, and see you later.